I have major post-show blues right now. So for those of you who don't do theatre, you won't have encountered the post-show blues, but I'm sure you can pretty much guess that it is the major come down after you do a show. It's a bit different for everyone, I guess, but if you're anything like me, it will involve being completely aimless, having no motivation to do anything. And spending a lot of your time eating and watching trashy reality TV. I know a lot more about children's beauty pageants than I ever should have. I'm actually only filming this vlog because my friend Ben has kept at me saying, "When's your next vlog up? Film your vlog." Effort. So much effort. I always find that post-show blues are a lot worse after intensives as well. I've done 3 shows now, including Les Mis, where the whole rehearsal and performance process has been over 2 weeks. So you go from having 2 weeks of super long hours, of just rehearsing, of learning things, of it just being your focus, your main focus. The only thing you're thinking about is this show for 2 weeks, and then suddenly it's just gone. And I always find it so much worse because you're just left with nothing to do. And you feel like you should still be doing this show because it's only been a short amount of time. Especially if you don't know your cast beforehand and you're like best friends with them after this 2 weeks, and then you just don't see them. And it's horrible. Sometimes it makes me think, why do I do this to myself? Why do I do shows? I actually didn't know if I wanted to do Les Mis when I first heard about it, because it is one of my favourite shows. I was worried it wouldn't live up to my kind of mental expectations for it. And I thought, do I want to do this? Is it better to just leave it as something I want to do in the future? I'm so thankful I did decide to do it in the end because I had the best time. I met the best people that I adore and I miss so much right now. And I think I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself as a performer, about the people I was working with, about the whole process of doing such an epic, massive show in such a short amount of time. And I also learned that some people can twerk to anything. I have never seen people twerk to the prologue, the Convict song in the prologue before. Now I have. Our cast would dance to everything. It was amazing. I also, I got a few gifts throughout the show. I got some loom bands from some of the little girls, and this is my favourite one. It's quite expertly made. I've never had a loom band before. And I got my first lots of stage door flowers as well, which was, I was trying to hold in tears. It was a pretty big thing. I was really excited. You can see them. There are my show flowers from Les Mis. They're really nice. So we had several issues with the show in the second week. I made a vlog about the first week about the rehearsals, but we had 2 more days of rehearsals and then straight into 4 days of shows in the second week. We had some major band issues on the dress rehearsal night, which was Tuesday, which resulted in us only being able to run the first act of the dress rehearsal. Now, that's not really what you want from a dress rehearsal. A dress rehearsal, you're meant to run the whole show. So we were called in for an emergency dress rehearsal on the Wednesday, and it finished about 40 minutes before the show started. So in effect, we did the show twice that day, and it was crazy for an opening night to be doing the show 40 minutes before you're meant to be starting the show, with the audience kind of waiting outside to come in. It was ridiculous. We also had some issues on the first night with the barricade. It fell onto a 12-year-old boy's head. Yeah. The students were in the scene where they were meant to be sleeping because Valjean is singing Bring Him Home, and apparently I wasn't on stage at this point. I was dead at that point. Yeah, Ephanie was dead at that point, so I wasn't on. But the barricade apparently, this big bit of fencing that was being used apparently started to just fall very slowly, and everyone was meant to be asleep, so they couldn't exactly grab it, but somehow they managed to kind of keep it from crushing this 12-year-old boy. So that happened. We also had some slight issues in that our computer software that was being used by our MD actually skipped a whole song. And because of that, the band had to all skip this song. So I believe that the song before was in the wrong key as well, so they had empty chairs higher than it was meant to be. Bless our Marius, he just kept going like a proper little trooper and sung the whole song up, which is ridiculous. And then every day, or the Heart Full of Love Reprise was skipped, which was the point where my friend Marie was meant to change into her Cosette wedding dress. So she didn't do that on the first night. There was no time for that change. But for such a young and in some cases inexperienced cast, they were so professional. Everyone was just absolute troopers. They just got on with it. They were like, okay, this has happened, that's fine, let's move on and make the show good still. And every night, everything was fixed and everything got better. And you know, by the last day, the show was phenomenal. Even though everyone was tired, everyone was kind of losing their voice, I was so proud of everyone involved. And just seeing the show improve every night was amazing. Just thinking about it makes me happy. We had such a supportive cast as well. I mean, I personally on the last night, my voice was going, I had a few kind of vocal hiccups, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't my strongest performance, and I was gutted about that because my family were in, quite a few of my friends were in, and I came off after one of my big songs and I was just gutted that it had gone, in my mind, it had gone really badly. And everyone who was backstage was so lovely. When they saw I was upset, they like consoled me, they made me feel better about it. That's what you need in a cast, you need that love and support. It wasn't just that, it was little things throughout the week, throughout the show. People would help each other with quick changes. I helped Marie into her Cosette wedding dress every night. We nailed that change. We had so much time left after it by, I think, the third day. Before it had been an absolute rush, and by the third day she was just kind of chilling backstage like, yeah, I've got like 10 seconds here. So I helped with that change. Valjean would help her put her quick change shoes on for her first Cosette scene, which I think is just really sweet. It's like a good papa. Like, well done, Valjean. Good parenting. And I had a change where I would come off stage left and have to run back round stage right to get on for my big song. And in that time where I was running around, I had to take my hair out of a ponytail, wrap it up so it was up, and tuck it under a hat so that when I took my hat off, my hair would come down. And that, I'm not very good with hair. That took me longer than it possibly should have. But Dave, who played Javert, took to opening my water bottle for me so that I could have time to have a drink as well as changing my hair and then get on stage for my song, because I always wanted to have some water before that, and it was just so sweet that I didn't ask him to do it, he just started doing it. And as well as all that love and support, there was a lot of just backstage ridiculousness. Like I've already mentioned, there was twerking to everything. I think it was the matinee. Everyone was watching bad lip-reading videos backstage and kind of crying, laughing at that. I actually missed the Act 2 beginner's call because I was laughing at bad lip-reading, and I was half in costume on the wrong side of the stage when the music started, and I kind of had to just sprint around and get on as quick as I could. No one noticed. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. After the matinee we had a pizza party. Everyone ordered Domino's and just sat on the floor and ate pizza. And there was a running joke in the cast where the letter to Cosette that I take from Marius, which also becomes the confession at the end, it was defaced slightly differently every few days. The first time it just said hello, which, okay, fair enough, and then it kind of got more outlandish and rude each time. I did not realise on the last day that it had been changed between the matinee and the evening performance, so I opened it and read it on stage. And it's just me in a spotlight at this point because I'm crossing the stage to get to Valjean to hand him this letter. I open it in the spotlight. It says something completely different from what I expect, and I had to kind of suppress a snort of laughter. I'm not going to tell you what it said. Aside from the laughing on stage on the last day, it was a really emotional day. Fontaine cried during I Dreamed a Dream, and as we were all coming over to Lovely Ladies, we saw her in the wings with just tears on her face, and that almost set me off. I teared up a bit during Little Fall of Rain, during On My Own, but it really hit me during the epilogue. Before I went on, I was standing in the wings waiting for my bit. That's one of my favourite parts of the show. And I thought about how it was the last time we'd be doing it, and I was just in the wings by myself, and I was just standing in the wings, full on kind of chin wobble crying, and I managed to suppress it while I sung, but as soon as the lights came down on us and the chorus came in with the reprise of Do You Hear People Sing, I just welled up and I was just crying on stage again. It was not my finest moment, to be honest. It was a really emotional show and rehearsal process, and it was draining, but it was so amazing to be a part of, and I miss it a lot. It's only been 3 full days without the show, and I miss it so much. So yeah, post-show blues. Not fun. I miss Les Mis!